Right tablet, let's get booted up here. Right tablet's booted up. And and looking good over there. Okay. Audio okay. Audio okay. Okay. And hey, look at Ronbo and Kathy. Well, it'd probably help if I had these. There. Better. I decided to stay with the Blizzard microphone. It kind of goes with the background. Although, why is today it sounding funny again? Sounding funny. Oh, I know why. I have to speak directly into the voice coil. You can see there's a voice coil on either side. Not four voice coils like my other microphones. So if I go off to the side over here, that's the only problem with some of these microphones. You have to talk directly. I don't know if I can talk in the top of this one. I don't want to. Well, since the gang's all here. Broadcasting live from station WDWL TV, Studio 2A. And me, I'm the Grumpy Old Man, brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. No bow. Thank you. Got that shit out of the way. 111. Holy kielbasa. I haven't been looking lately. Kind of makes me sad. 111. Okay, Kathy. Have you ever been bowling? A bowler will understand this. Okay. Anybody been bowling? Okay. What is 111? If somebody in your group gets 111, what is it? I guess nobody's bowled on a league. If you're bowling and somebody in your group gets 111, beer frame. Somebody gets 111. That's right, Ron. Shithouse, beer frame you're buying. Not everybody knows shithouse. Most people know it by beer frame. Same thing. You get the beer frame, you're in the shithouse. Pay up. Well, I have the Passat back in the driveway. And my wallet is $380 lighter. Man, that was a tough hit. Holy shit. $680 between the goddamn power booster and then labor to install the power booster, master cylinder, bleed all the brakes, change the oil and the filter. And Ryan was telling me, he says, oh, it's got brakes now. I was like, okay, how much I owe you? Don't you want to take it for a ride first? I said, I trust you. He said, take it for a ride. I took it down the street. Traffic light changed. I hit the brakes. I almost put myself through the windshield. Holy Christ! That car stops on a dime and gives you 9 cents change back. Man, I didn't realize how shitty the brakes were on that car. Holy Christ. Although I do have to have him do one thing. I have to have him adjust the brake pedal down a little bit. He's got it up just a tad too high for me. But, oh, god damn. I told him, I said, oh, the brakes, when I took it in, I said, they're a little spongy. Spongy? I didn't have any. Holy shit. I was thinking when the light turned red to step on them the way I've been stepping on them. I stepped on them brakes. I went right up against the steering wheel. I was like, holy shit, does this thing have brakes now? And nice fresh oil. So, hopefully this is it. I can't afford any more repairs. That one really emptied my emergency fund. But everything's new now. New power booster, new master cylinder reservoir, all new brake pads. So, that's amazing. Of course, from day one driving the car, it had kind of crappy brakes. But I had nothing to compare it to. Until I got in it today. Holy shit. Man. What a car. how it goes and stops. I didn't expect the car today because when I dropped off the power booster, he said, I am so busy. Do you mind Monday? Because he don't work on the weekends. They're closed. I was like, hey, whatever. I got I got the shit box. It's okay. And I was sitting here. Oh, my blood pressure was cranking this afternoon. I get a phone call about 3:30. I look down on the phone and it says Ryan's Automotive. And I'm thinking, oh, wrong part. Something's not right. He says, you want to come pick up the car? I said, what? It's all done. I said, all done? You said Monday. He said, well, the job that was supposed to come in this morning didn't show up. I pulled the car in. I started working on it. And at 10:15, the 9 o'clock job shows up. And Ryan went, Monday. This job's going to take me all day. Monday. And the guy's like, well, I had an appointment. Ryan says, well, yeah. You had an appointment at 9 o'clock, not 10:15. Well, I didn't think you would be busy. He pointed to the Passat and he said, I'm going to be busy. Monday, 9 o'clock. And basically trying to work and answer the phone and have idiot customers come in and ask you stupid questions all day. I don't know how he got that car done. Because I asked him, I said, how did you bleed the brakes? Because that's usually a two-person operation. And he showed me this. I was amazed. It mounts. You take off the filler cap on the master cylinder reservoir. And you put this device on. And then you have a push button on an air hose. And you go to the back wheel. You open the bleeder screw. You push the button. Fluid comes out until all the air is out. Then you go to the other back wheel, push the button. A one-man brake bleeder. And when the fluid gets low, it beeps. so that he can right away add more fluid to the master cylinder. It is the neatest. I didn't even know something like that existed. Because I asked him, I says, how the hell can you... Now, there is a... I used to do it overnight. They call it gravity bleeding. What I would do is open all the bleeder screws, all four, and just open them a little bit, and then put pie tins on the ground, and overnight they slowly just drip, drip until the air comes out, and in the morning you tighten all four up, top off the master cylinder, and but this tool was neat. He showed me the push button. It's on an air hose, and it blows air into the reservoir, and then it forces the fluid through the system. He said I had all four wheels bled 15 minutes. I never saw anything like that. It was cool. Although, like he said, when you're working by yourself, you need shit like this. Although he did tell me, which is good, come spring, I'll probably need a new set of rotors on the front. For what little I'll be driving during the winter, I won't screw up the new brake pads, and then come spring, I'll get me some cool race rotors. Rotors that they call drilled and slotted. You ever take a look at a rotor and it's got a bunch of holes in it, and then it's got like grooves cut in it? Those are like racing rotors. They cool faster because they have extra air cooling holes in them. I found them really inexpensive too, from the place that I get all my brake parts from, up in Michigan, which is interesting. The company is called Detroit Axle. Now you would think axle parts. Well, calipers, rotors are axle parts. I looked for the hell of it. A pair of these drilled and slotted rotors from, and all three auto parts stores were about the same price. Anywhere from $120 to $135 for a pair. Detroit Axle has the same rotors, $72. So when I get a little money in the fund again, I'll order them. And that way, come spring, I'll put them on. They're easy. I can do that myself. Because I have the tool to compress the caliper. So, yeah, I'll tell you, if you can afford to wait, I have been ordering probably for close to 10 years from Detroit Axle. All of my brake parts, rotors, calipers, brake pads. As a matter of fact, when you order brake pads, you don't just like get the brake, 4 sets of brake pads in a box. You get 4 sets of brake pads, a big spray can of brake clean, and a bottle of brake fluid. With every purchase, they include that, which is wonderful because it saves you money buying brake clean and brake fluid. So my Crowfoot socket set got here today. So I just about have every fucking tool I need for that goddamn Volkswagen now. I had to buy the brake tools. I had to buy those triple square sockets. I had to buy a set of metric brake line wrenches and then a set of metric Crowfoot wrenches. I was like, Jesus. Although Harbor Freight, their prices on a lot of stuff have really come down. Because, they're trying to compete with, like, Temu. God, you can buy every tool in the world from Temu. And like when I got the brake kit, Ryan had the same kit. And I asked him what he paid for his. And he said like $78. So the next time I went up there, I took mine and I said, bring your brake kit out here. He opened the box. I opened mine. He went, oh, you got the same kit I have. I said, yeah, Temu, $28. He said, what? I said, yeah, Temu, $28, same as yours. Same red case, everything identical. So I needed them goofy triple square metric sockets for the axle bolts. I went on eBay and the cheapest I could find them was like $42. So for the hell of it, I tried Harbor Freight. $28. Same ones that were on eBay. So I'm looking on eBay for the set of crowfoot sockets. $62.95, something like that. Harbor Freight, $31. And free shipping. Same identical ones on eBay. So there are some things that are in store only. They won't ship to the house. Because I got one of them roll around tool stools. Well, I spotted a new one and it looks like a bucket seat. I was like, oh, that would be great for my back. I was going to order it that says in store only. So one of these days I'm going to have to take a ride out to Harbor Freight and buy me one of them tool stools with a bucket seat on it now. And you can get it in black, red, green, or blue. Yeah, I've been watching this bus grease monkey on YouTube. The guy in Tennessee. He swears by Harbor Freight. You ought to see the tools in his shop. Harbor Freight this, Harbor Freight that, Harbor Freight this, Harbor Freight that. I don't know where Harbor Freight is around him. And Harbor Freight now, most of their tools, lifetime guarantee, like Craftsman. Because the other day it was like, well, we're working on this bus and we broke this socket and we broke this pry bar and we broke this. And then towards the end of the video he went, all replaced courtesy of Harbor Freight. So now what I have to do is I have to check eBay, Harbor Freight, and Temu to see where I can get the best deal. Because 99% of the time, I don't need that tool tomorrow. I can wait 2 or 3 days. That's like, I needed a 3/8 torque wrench. So I went on eBay and they were like $40 to $45. I checked Harbor Freight. They were a little more expensive. They were like $50 to $60. So I checked Temu. The same identical 3/8 torque wrench on eBay for $40. Temu, $23.80. It should be here possibly tomorrow, if not Monday. Because I have to torque them axle bolts. Because I don't quite feel comfortable with them. I'd rather have them torqued down the way they should be. Do you have any idea where the Harbor Freight is? Between you and Bus Grease Monkey Garage? The way he talks, we'll just run into town. Well, running into town could be 50-mile drive. I'm trying to think what he was showing off in the video today. It was their top of the line, their icon line. I can't remember what he was showing off. Oh, the battery charger. Like an industrial battery charger icon. He said, just picked this up from Harbor Freight. And he said, they're not sponsoring him. He said, I don't get any money from them or any special discount. He said, when I find a place that you can get good quality for a good price, I mention it. But he loves Harbor Freight. Although Harbor Freight is a lot cheaper than Snap-on. God, I don't know how a mechanic can afford to have a big, huge tool cabinet full of Snap-on tools. Trace, like I was telling you, that tool cabinet my buddy's son has, $40,000. Built-in stereo, flat screen TV, refrigerator, closet for your clothes. It takes up like a whole wall. The tool cabinet is unbelievable. But 40 grand, and that's just for the cabinet. He probably has another $40,000 or $50,000 in Snap-on tools. I can see why the Snap-on men love, these mechanics, because they're like indebted to them for life. I remember, oh my God, this is years back. I needed an open-end box wrench set. And at that time, Sears was still hanging on a little bit. And the wrench set from Craftsman was like $28. And one day, when my brother-in-law had his shop, the Snap-on man come in. I said, you got a open-end box wrench set? He said, you need metric or American? I said, metric. He said, yeah, come on out to the truck. He puts the box puts the box down and opens it up, and of course, oh, the chrome, shiny, beautiful. That'll be $122. I went, what? Oh, yeah, snap on. I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm cheap. Craftsman. Of course, that's when Craftsman was still made in America. Now all Craftsman tools are made in China. You didn't miss much. I was just rambling on, Ron. Take the tablet in the kitchen with you. I was talking about tool prices. Although I have to buy some more tool carriers. My old Husky tool bags are getting kind of sad. I was watching today, this morning, basically, something woke me up at 5:30, so I turned the TV on. And I was watching this documentary. And it's kind of scary. It basically was about, over the years, hunters have disappeared without a trace. Over the years, I can't remember when they started keeping track across the United States, and it happens a lot in wooded areas, state parks, so on. People vanish. Utterly vanish. Not a trace. And they were saying they'll bring in tracking dogs. And like this one guy that disappeared, there was a group, there were 4 or 5 guys hunting. And he said, I'll wait here, and you guys go around, and if you see an elk, push him this way, and I'll be ready to... So the guy was sitting on a big rock in the middle of the woods. He vanished. They brought the tracking dog in, and the tracking dog had his scent from his Jeep to the big rock, and then nothing. Vanished. And there's like 1,200 people that have vanished and never been found. And they said it's mostly hunters. There's no trace of them. No clothing. Like this guy was a bow hunter. No bow, no arrows, nothing. And it happens across the whole United States. It's not just one area. And they can't explain it. It's not like the guy wandered off, because if he wandered off, the dogs would have picked up the scent. And, you know, maybe he would have dropped a few arrows or dropped his bow or nothing. Out of the 1,200, they've only found like 10. And the 10 that they found were like miles from where they last were. There was one towards the end. There was this woman hunting. Bow and arrow. Vanished. Now, they did multiple grid searches. Even diagonal. And when they do these grid searches, they use twine so that they know the area that has been searched. And the park rangers said when they got done searching, the twine looked like a giant spider web. Every square inch for several miles. They finally called off the search. A week after they called off the search, in this pond, which was like in the middle of this grid, they found this female totally naked in the fetal position. And the coroners could not determine what she died from. She didn't drown. She wasn't shot, stabbed, suffocated. The coroner could not determine a cause of death. Now, mind you, when she was hunting, she had long underwear on. She was in camo overalls. She had a hunting vest and a hunting coat. She had her compound bow with about 50 extra arrows, a knife, and a gun. They found her naked in the pond that they had already searched. And they could, there were no footprints. They were like, how did she get naked in this pond? And the coroner could not determine any cause of death. No drugs, nope, nothing. That is scary. It's like something sucked her up into the sky, and then when they were done with her, put her back down. And when they found her in this pond, none of the grid string was disturbed. And it showed it. It looked like a giant spider web because it went horizontally, vertically, diagonally, and they can't explain it. And like I say, 1,200 hunters have vanished over the span of, like, I'll say 30 years. No explanation. And the guy that did the documentary has been investigating this for over 30 years. He was a former FBI agent. And nobody can explain what the hell happened to all these people. Because, like he said, if they would have been attacked by an animal, there would have been a sign of it. And the body wouldn't have disappeared. If they would have been attacked or abducted by another hunter or somebody, some lunatic, there would have been signs of it. The dogs would have been able to track. It, like the guy sitting on the rock, the dog went and stopped and went, nothing here. He was here. I don't know where he went. That is scary. And like they were interviewing, family members and that. And they don't get any closure. Like this one woman they interviewed, her husband been missing for 25 years. Body never showed up. Yeah, Kathy, but if it was Bigfoot, there would be tracks. There would be a scent. There's nothing. Like with the guy that was sitting on the rock, the scent stopped at the rock. There was nothing. Same thing with the female that they found like a month later. And like the coroner said, for somebody that, quote, should have been dead for a month, the body looked like she'd only been dead for a day or two. And she was found in the middle of this spider web grid that had been searched several times. It is scary. like the they interviewed the guy's wife. Well, they interviewed wives of all the guys that were missing, and they all said, you don't want to give up hope, but after 25 years and nothing, no body, nothing to bury, no explanation. Your husband just got sucked up into the sky one day. She said, like, for the first 5 years, it was hell because his dog, which for some reason he didn't take hunting that day, his dog sat in the kitchen window from morning till night and stared out the window waiting for him to come up the driveway. She said the dog wouldn't move. At night, the dog would curl up in its bed in the kitchen. Soon as daylight hit, the dog would be on the chair looking out the window until dark. And like she said, you never have closure. She said, it's obvious he's dead, but no body, nothing. And it happens, which is strange, across the United States during hunting season. The people just vanish. And like the guy that was doing the documentary said, I don't want to say I believe in aliens, but it's a possibility. But nobody sees nothing, nobody heard. Like the guys that, with that guy that was sitting on the rock, his other buddies were working their way towards him in the hope that they would see an elk and it would run that way. They never heard anything. Now, the interesting thing is, the woman that they found a month after her abduction for some unknown reason, even though she was naked, her camera was with her. And the picture that she shot of the woods was perfect. The second picture was totally blurry. And it was an autofocus camera. And that's the only thing that they have. They have a picture of a blurry woods. I wish I would have caught the documentary from the start. Because I don't know what the name of it was. Because I'd like to watch it again. Oh, that's a beef stew. Oh, man. That sounds like a good crock pot recipe for me to do. I haven't had beef stew since last winter. Give me an idea for something to make, Ron. I'll have to go up to the butcher stop. Go up to the butcher shop and get some good cubed beef. Not the crap that they sell pre-packaged. Blah. And throw it in a crock pot. Although I do have a taste for Swiss steak, too. Yeah, I think maybe I'll make the Swiss steak first. And then I'll get the bigger crock pot out for the stew. Because I could eat a good beef stew 3-4 days a week. I don't mind leftovers because the more the stew cooks, the more tender the beef gets. But you got to get good cuts of beef. This pre-packaged shit you get at the market. That's like, I'll go up to the butcher shop and get Swiss steak. Because they hammer the shit out of it right in front of you. How many pieces you want? 4 or 5. Whack, 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 whack. There you go. Let them use their arm to smash that. Although I do have a pretty good mallet for making Swiss steak. It'll tenderize the shit out of a shoe. The only problem is it makes so much noise in the kitchen. Get out the big cutting board. And sounds like you're demolishing the counter. I have a cover that I put over my coffee. Because my second cup of coffee today I had to waste. And nothing pisses me off more than wasting a cup of coffee. I made the coffee, I brought it in, I set it on the console. I'm reading my email. I go to take a drink of coffee, and there's a fly doing a backstroke in my cup. I just, I was like, where the hell did you come from? And quit doing a backstroke in my coffee. Yeah, Ron, when you're making stuff like that, you got to make enough for a couple of days. I always do. If I make Swiss steak, I make sure that there's at least 2 meals. If I make stew, I use the bigger crock pot. I don't care if I eat it 3 days in a row. It's good stuff. Yeah, the guy. I thought the guy was Danny DeVito at first. Christy was small enough. All the years I watched Danny DeVito on TV and in movies, I never realized how short he was until the one time he was at some award ceremony on the red carpet. And the reporter walked up to him, and the reporter's like, up here. Although, what was her name? Rhea Perlman. She wasn't too much taller. They were kind of like made for one another. Well, for a little while. Oh, God. I knew there was something I. Last night on Jimmy Kimmel Live, he had Carol Burnett. She's 92 years old and still working. She's doing a series for Apple TV Plus. 92, she looks good and still sounds good. I was amazed when she said she was 92 years old and still working. Gets up at 5 o'clock every morning to go to the set. But she looked wonderful. She was doing some childhood stories, and she grew up in Hollywood. And she said her and her friends used to play on the Hollywood sign. And she said, because Jimmy Kimmel asked her, well, what letter was your favorite? And she said the O, because there was a heavy scaffolding that she could climb up and hang over the top of the O. And she said, I could look over Hollywood. I thought that story was so cute. She said, oh, I was about 11 years old. And then she said, and now you can't get near the Hollywood sign, damn it. She goes, I'd go out there again. Yeah, she's doing oh God, what the hell's the name of the series for YouTube? Or not YouTube, Apple Plus. Palm Royale. Yeah, Palm Royale. It's on Apple TV Plus. This is the second season. Did you know she won 7 Emmys? I was amazed when she said that. When did she lose all of her money, Ron? Not according to what I read. She's got a net worth of about $42 million. Well, then she built up her, because it said right now her net worth is $42 million. But yeah, she's doing that series for Apple TV Plus. Palm Royale. I don't have Apple TV Plus, so unfortunately I won't get to watch her act again. God, I loved the Carol Burnett show. Oh my God. I couldn't wait till it came on every week. Especially with Tim Conway and Harvey Korman. Oh, those two were crazy. And good old Tim Conway, right from Ohio. Although so was Dick Van Dyke. He was originally from Ohio. Oh, Kathy, she looked marvelous. It was hard to believe when she said she was 92 and still working and still as funny as she was, because she was joking around with Kimmel. If you go on YouTube, Jimmy Kimmel Live, you can watch her performance on it. Because Jimmy Kimmel puts his show on YouTube. I was hoping that Kimmel would ask her. I won't. I know she did it. If he would have asked her to do she would have done it. Although I was waiting for her to pull on her ear like she always used to. But you can catch the Jimmy Kimmel Show on YouTube. But she looked amazing for 92. Although what? Dick Van Dyke is what? 95, 96, something like that. And he's still amazing. I remember when he was on, what the hell was that show? The Masked Singer. And he still had a great voice because he stumped all of the judges, and then they took his head off and they were like, holy shit, it's Dick Van Dyke. You know, That's the way I'd want to be. I would hate to be 92 and have somebody wheel you around, somebody feed you. Hard to believe. 92 years old, still up at 5 a.m., off to the studio. I give her credit. Although, I'll tell you what, I give Apple TV credit for giving her that part. She's got a good agent. I'd like to see Dick Van Dyke do a remake of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Whoa! 100? Oh, God, I hope he makes it. Like poor Betty White. Look forward to her 100th birthday and have a stroke at 99. Wow, I didn't realize. I thought he was, 94, 95. He's going to be 100 years old. Wow. I'll tell you what, the way Carol Burnett looked, she'll make 100 easy. And probably still be working. Oh, God, yeah, Mary Poppins. And some of them, I'll tell you what, some of the dance routines that he did were unreal. He was a good dancer. Those were the days of good movies. Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, The Sound of Music. Now half the movies they make suck. That's the one thing about Dick Van Dyke. He could act, play any part, sing, dance. Yeah, I'd like to see him do a remake. Have an older Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with an older Dick Van Dyke. I bet you he could probably do some of the routines. Because he's still pretty agile. it was, you talk about a stroke of luck. I watched the local news and I was going to turn the TV off and I went, oh, I haven't caught Kimmel live in a while. And who's his guest star? Carol Burnett. But yeah, she looked wonderful. I could not believe it. Matter of fact, she was talking about last year when they honored her at, oh, what the hell's that? Grumman's Chinese Theater. She did her hands and her feet in the cement. Because they showed a picture of her with the cement all over her hands. That was like last year in April or May. Yeah, they honored her at. What the hell's the name of that? I thought I wrote it down here. Yeah, Grumman's Chinese Theater, although it's the TLC Theater now. TLC bought the theater. Yeah, it's TLC Chinese Theater. You think they would have left it, put TLC Grumman's Chinese Theater? No, they got a. Because towards. I won't ruin it, Kathy. It gets interesting towards the end of the interview. I'll leave it at that. You'll love it. It also goes to show she's still got her wits, too. Her mind is sharp as a tack. I knew I wanted to tell you that. Figured you'd enjoy it. Because she's from our era. But yeah, she was talking about when she was a little kid, crawling up and playing on the Hollywood sign. And then she was doing an off Broadway performance, and that's how she got discovered. And just took off from there. Well, I would hope so, Ron. I was hoping you wouldn't come on and say, well, Fiona's got a big pot of stew to eat. Although the last time I made stew, I let Boots lick the bowl. He liked the stew gravy. goofy ass cat likes potato chips too. Boy, you spoil the shit out of your animals like I spoil boots. I'll tell you. Not too many people that take their good beef stew and go, here, doggy, eat. Although, people raise hell. Oh, you shouldn't be giving your animal people food. What did people feed their animals before animal food? People food. Every dog and cat got leftovers. And they were pretty healthy animals. It's like I remember when I would go up to Totes Farm. They'd milk the cow, and the first thing they would do was pour bowls for the cats. God, they must have had 20 barn cats. Although that barn never had any mice. They had some pretty neat cats, too. You would think barn cats would be like, ugh. They were all well groomed. Oh, where did I put them? I got some neat green LED license plate lights. I got to put them on the car tomorrow, if the weather's agreeable. Weather was kind of cold today. I can't wait to drive the Passat tomorrow. Although I have to remember, easy on the brakes. Oh, I miss that car. I can't wait till it's legal. Well, month and a half. Just gotta wait a month and a half. And it will be legal. I am just very thankful that they let me take that car. Because the other three that they sold, they were all still sitting there. They said, nope. So, can you imagine me getting that car in January and having to put up with all this shit and work all the bugs out of it? All right, Rudy. See you tomorrow. It is a fun car to drive. It's amazing how well it handles for being 25 years old. But it's got that, what the hell do they call it? Multi-link suspension. God, I hate to think of what that costs to fix. Yeah, multi-link suspension. And it's amazing how tight that car is. Hit a bump, you can't even feel it. I just can't wait to get it up on the freeway. Get it up in fifth gear. So far, I haven't got out of third. But I think Monday I'm going to ask Ryan if he can lower that brake pedal just a little bit. Because he told me, he says, oh, I cranked the pedal up. Yeah, can you crank it down a little bit? Because I have to pick my foot up to put it on the brake. I'm used to just sliding my foot back and forth, off the accelerator onto the brake. Now I got to pick my foot up. He needs to take it down about an inch. If he can adjust it that way. I don't see why he couldn't. If he adjusted it up, he can take it down a little bit. Because otherwise, I have to remount the damn CB. Because when I pick my foot up, I'm banging my leg on the CB. I'm going to have the rest of my spaghetti sauce tonight. Oh, was that good with the hot sauce? Oh, I put that hot Italian sausage in there, pepperoni, mushrooms. I really doctored it up with the angel hair pasta. Tomorrow I'm going to make my pickled eggs. I got everything all ready. And I'm going to boil them the way the chef said to do. Cold water, bring to a rolling boil, remove from heat, put a lid on them, let them set. When they cool down a little bit, ice water. Yeah, Ron, those were some really impressive statistics. I have to say, I was impressed reading that. Very impressive statistics, buddy. quite the athlete. I bet nobody would play frisbee with you. Well, I hope they peel as easy as the YouTube video. Like he said, put them in cold water, bring them to a rolling boil, take them off the heat, put a cover on them, let them cool a bit, then shock them in ice water. And it showed him peeling them and the shells falling right off. Well, I hope so. Because he said, use eggs that have sat in the refrigerator for about a week. Mine have been in the refrigerator about 8 days. Oh, by those statistics, Ron, I believe it. Very impressive. Very impressive. Do you still have your rewards? Put them up on the mantle and go, oh, I used to be an athlete. You got to send Kathy those statistics. That's what this chef said. He said older eggs are best. So I've got 2 dozen. I'm only going to do a dozen that have been in the refrigerator for about 8 days now. And I'm going to do it just like they said. Cold water, bring to a boil, take off heat, cover, let cool for a bit, ice water. Because nothing pisses me off more than to waste part of an egg peeling it. And he also said, when you go to peel them, peel from one end or the other. Like usually the bigger end, because there's an air pocket, and then it gets underneath the skin. So I'm going to do it just like they said. Do you have them on display? Are they out like on an end table or on a mantle or? Not that people come in and go, oh, look, awards. Well, we'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow night, you'll know if I'm happy or pissed off. Matter of fact, I saved the YouTube video. I'm going to watch it again in the morning, just to make sure. Oh, he said, put some vinegar in the water. Do you do that too? He said, put put vinegar in the water when you boil the eggs. Because I have both white vinegar and cider vinegar. Yeah, I just remembered vinegar. Puts vinegar in the water. So we'll see what happens. Because I want to make my pickled eggs. Oh, that's right. Yeah. You're all packed for moving. Well, when you get in the new house, big display. Yeah, Kathy, Ron was quite the athlete. He threw dinner plates and bowling balls. How much does that discus weigh? And how much does that shot put weigh? Me, I'd be winding up with that discus and it'd go off in the crowd somewhere like, whoops, sorry. I always wonder, what the hell was that? I wanted to throw the pointed stick, the javelin. Be my luck, I'd throw the son of a bitch and it'd catch somebody. Oh! Oops! I didn't do that. I always thought that would be cool. Throw that javelin. Number 22, Grumpy is disqualified for the javelin hitting the judge in the chest. Holy shit! That's the weight of a bowling ball. And the discus is even heavier. Yeah, 12 to 16 pounds, that's a bowling ball. God damn. Yeah, I want to be the javelin thrower. Number 22, Grumpy disqualified for killing the judge. Poor judge laying out there. Can I have my javelin back? No, it's crime scene evidence. Oh, shit. That would be my luck. Goddamn judge getting away. Although there was one track and field meet. I I I don't know if it was the Olympics or not, where a javelin landed right next to a judge's foot. Because I remember the cameras all zooming in, and it was like an inch away from his foot. Had he moved 1 inch the other way, his foot would have been in a cast. I think it was the Olympics. I really do. The javelin come down and it landed about an inch from this guy's foot. That'll teach him not to pay attention. Where's that javelin? Oh, Jesus! Holy shit! Holy shit! Javelin and, oh, high jump and long jump. God damn, Ron, you were the athlete. I'm surprised you didn't get an athletic scholarship somewhere. Although maybe you did and you turned it down. I don't know. I know one thing for sure. If I was at college, I'd be looking for somebody as talented as you. Especially with all those records. Yeah, email Kathy what you sent me. Kathy, it's impressive. Ron was quite the athlete. Very impressive statistics. We have a celebrity in our midst. I like the way the article said he took a different path in life and studied law. Hell, you could have qualified for the Olympics. I remember years, oh God, years back, my neighbor's son qualified for the Olympic wrestling team. And he couldn't go because they couldn't afford to send him. Everybody thinks, oh, you're part of the Olympic, everything paid for. Not. There's a lot of expenses involved if you're going to, like, Japan. Oh, That's your luck, Ron. That's your luck, right? Like mine. Qualify for the Olympics and we don't go. Yeah, I remember that. How come you didn't go? Or did you go? You got quite an impressive background there, buddy. Very impressive. Oh, shit. Boy, you couldn't catch a break, could you, buddy? Well, at least you got invited. That's something to be proud of. Very impressive, though. I'll say that. I don't know what background I'll do tomorrow. Maybe I'll leave the waterfall up for a day or so. Although I gotta move the damn bird. He's right in the way of the waterfall. I never noticed that because the waterfall is right behind me. And the damn light washes out the color. See, it kind of, this light kind of brings the color in. It's a nice background. I'm trying to think what else I had the palm trees. I've got the waterfall. I bought another one that was something like this. See, the problem is they're all folded up in little packets. I have to open them all up. Don't want that one. Fold it back up, put it in the envelope. I need to put the rack up. That way they'll all be hanging and I can just go, this one, this one, this one. I think whatever I grab first out of the case. Although I am marking them so that we don't have the same one twice. Because I got about 30 of them. Especially since I made it real easy to change them. Only takes me about 5 minutes to swap backgrounds. Well, people, I got spaghetti to cook and it takes forever. everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again tomorrow.